months, the truth will surely come out. The Bucs don't have to talk to the media for quite some time now, so they'll have a while to prepare for how they want to respond to this, as their last media obligation was yesterday at the OTA. But plus, we're not going to chit-chat about this far too long, but obviously I feel like we had to get the monkey off our back, and we had to talk about it a little bit because it's such a big story. Thoughts on the Deven Thompkins predicament to this point?
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit, there's always two sides to the story, right? There's, a lot of back and forth, it looks like, as far as the legal situation is going on. And obviously there's going to be investigations. The Buccaneers probably had more, information than we're being allowed to see right now. So they have, their investigations taking place, and they know they made an educated guess, and obviously they let him go, with the injury. And, I think when you look at Deven Thompkins, I think he's a guy that probably wasn't going to even make this roster when it's all said and done. And now you add this on top of it with the, accusations, and see how that plays out. And yeah, I mean, it's, you hope everything works out, and, whether he gets help or if he's not guilty, hopefully it comes to a resolution. But at the end of the day, I think from a football perspective, the Buccaneers made the right choice, and, they decided to move on. And I think that's the right move.
And as plus, you said it yourself, he was a fringe roster guy at best, regardless, outside of this situation. Right. I tweeted his stats the other day, very lackluster. His one total touchdown in a couple of seasons to this point. I think he averaged under 5-6 yards a catch last year, which is not good at all, especially in this day and age in the NFL. It's all about the yak. He was just not doing that. Sure, he was okay in the run game, but again, if his best trait is 80 rushing yards, probably not the fleetest of foot. And he was 14th in the return game. For a playoff team, you'd like to upgrade that, get in that top 10 range for return. And the return game is changing itself this year. Regardless, so I think he was cut maybe because of this, sure. But as you said, being a fringe roster guy and then this on top of it, it just did not bode well for him at all. Gene, I know you probably have some thoughts on the matter. It's a confusing one. Time will tell, as it always does in these cases, who's right, who's wrong, etc. But as of right now, a lot of smoke and mirrors and a lot of finger pointing, Mr. Gene.
Actually, there's a cautionary tale. I always think about Rakeem Nunez-Roches when he was here. And there was an accusation against him about something with animal cruelty. And when all the facts rolled out, he was found to be totally innocent. There was like nothing on his name. And all the people that were throwing shade, all the people that were saying these things, they all disappeared. Nobody apologized to this guy about a rumor that started. And again, if it's true, boom, he needs to go. He needs to be gone. But just, kind of taking a step back, it's kind of like not my place right here. I am not totally educated on everything that's going on. But at the end of the day, man, if he's innocent, he's innocent. If he's guilty, he's guilty. And that's the way it should go.
Yeah, and we're kind of in the point in time, and again, this isn't sticking up for anybody regardless, but we're kind of under the point in time where everybody just jumps to guilt immediately given the situation. So I agree. I keep tweeting, putting it in my tweets. If this is true, rumored to be true, indications saying, hey, this isn't 100% proven, but nonetheless, not a good look for either party, Deven nor his wife. It seems like they could use some prayers and help right now. So regardless of the situation, hopefully whatever has happened is happened. And Gene makes a lot of good points, as did Dr. Pless. J-Lo, great to have you back. It's been a little bit, brother. I know you were out and about for our Tyreek Funderburk interview last week. We did miss you on that, but no time like the present. Glad to have you back on the Buccateers. Just your thoughts on the situation. Very confusing one, very sticky one to this point.
Thank you, Tones. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to the interview with Terry Funderburk, but good job, fellas, for running a good show. I enjoyed watching it from the comment section and all that stuff. Unfortunately for Deven Thompkins, it's very unfortunate. If the rumors are true, then what, shame on him. But the guy got more facts because there's always two sides of the story on how it happened. I'm not saying he's innocent, but at the end of the day, though, he's in a very bad situation that could ruin his career to where he may not even get an opportunity again.
Like Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer, right, wrong,
Yes.
or indifferent, his baseball career is pretty much done almost. I mean, if he's not signed yet after getting proven innocent, even if you are innocent, if these accusations get brought up, you're almost tarnished regardless, for better or for worse, in 2024 at least.
Agreed, yes. And look at Ray Rice. I mean, he knocked his girlfriend out cold years ago. We haven't seen him play since. So even if, if he's innocent or not, at the end of the day, he's in a very tough situation where we may never see him play another down again, no matter if he's innocent or not. I mean, his wife or soon to be ex-wife, whatever she is to him, kept her receipts. She posted what she has. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure Thompkins is going to get hopefully a good lawyer to back him up, and hopefully he kept his receipts for his benefit.
Very weird situation too. They were still married, but they lived apart. She lived in California, she said. He lived in Tampa. Apparently they tried to rekindle the flame. When is that ever the greatest idea? So, a lot of stickiness, but plus, as my phone's buzzing now, thoughts on how the kick return game is impacted here?
Well, I think we have, obviously there's some in-house candidates that the Buccaneers are probably looking at. We've mentioned, Bucky Irving. You look at Trey Palmer. The guy that I think is going to be one to watch is Cameron Johnson. I really like his game out of Barton. I think this is a sneaky one. And, the Buccaneers have a track record of UDFAs, bringing them in and sticking on the team. So I think as far as return game, I don't think it's going to be, impacted in such a way where we can't be productive or maybe even better, than we were the last several years. Now, the rule changes obviously play a factor in that. There's going to be a lot of shifting as far as strategy and personnel groupings. How is these rules going to apply when it comes to preseason? So that's going to be something to watch. And I think special teams as a whole is just going to have a much larger impact on the game than it did in past years, because these returns, I mean, it can change the game really, because now you're either starting at the 40-yard line if the team kicks it out of bounds or whatever, and, or you get a return, switch the field. So yeah,
it's kind of insane too. Plus, not to cut you off, but we kind of went from having like nothing to do with kick returns for the past, 5, 6, 7 seasons, and now they're like, just all right, here we go. We're gonna spice it up, 0 to 100, no roadblocks, no stop signs or nothing.
Fast and furious for sure.
So that'll be very interesting. Gene, to me, this doesn't really impact our wide receiver room. Deven Thompkins aside, we have a clear-cut big four. The rookie McMillan, Trey Palmer, the kid from last year, showed great potential in big plays, especially in touchdowns, especially when he woke up pissed off. Hopefully he gets pissed off a couple more mornings this year. And then, you have the big two, the best two in football, Godwin and Evans, in terms of wide receiver tandems. And you have a lot of young talent, as Plus mentioned. You have a couple very nice UDFAs vying to make the roster this year. And last year you had Raheem Jarrett, who's still going to try and buck the roster as well. And then you have Cephas Johnson still kind of hanging around. So you got a plethora of guys. And as we know, the Bucs love them some UDFAs. Deven Thompkins was one. Raheem Jarrett was one. Kalen Geiger was used sparingly back in the day, but he was a UDFA when he was in Tampa, friend of the program, Kalen Geiger, that is. So, Gene, I don't think it impacts our room all too much, but what it will do is it surely will open the door for a guy like Mr. Plus said earlier, and other undrafted free agents and Raheem Jarrett's of the world. So whether it's going to be the kid out of Barton, Cameron Johnson, or another youngin vying for the roster, it surely does open the door for that 5 or 6 receiver spot.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just been a drought, but historically the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as far as kickoffs, kick returns, and punt returns, they've really been on the struggle bus since the beginning. And they've never really been able to establish a consistent punt return, kick return setup here in Tampa. For a while with Sammy Stroher and I can't think of the other guy's name.
Spurlock?
Michael Spurlock. Those are the names that pop in my head. But when you talk about a kick returner in Tampa, it's hard to come up with that name that, oh man, he was just incredible. It's just been so inconsistent. And I think that's one of the things that would really help this team, especially in the field position battle, is if you can get that guy that can get you that yardage where it puts your offense in a better position. I mean, so many times we've gotten kick returners and they're indecisive and they, or fumble prone or just bad decision making. And so it would just be so nice to see Tampa get somebody consistent that they can get the ball up the field and put the offense in a good position to get a fast start.
Yeah, Tampa's kick returner decision making was about good as me on a Friday night stumbling out of college bar at 2 a.m. That's how good of decision making our kick returners have made the past decade or so. But it seems like we've always lacked the return game, whether it's special teams coordinator, kick returner themselves, kick coverage. J-Lo, you can add to this. G Vegas brings up a very good point, and thanks for joining tonight, G Vegas. Glad to see you. The Bucs do it all the time. We brought in Perryman a couple times to be that cheap veteran option. Deven Moore, we've seen last year. He had an incredible impact, especially in the Packers game. We won't mention that he almost fumbled the ball too early, but nonetheless, very impactful there. And, we've seen it in years past as well, where the Bucs kind of go to the well for a veteran type guy for a cheap team friendly deal. They come in, they provide some dividends in that veteran wide receiver role. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Bucs go back out there, perhaps dip their toes in free agency, not break the bank, but bring in a nice little veteran who's had a nice shelf life in the NFL to kind of help not only on-field production, but help those rookies kind of acclimate to the NFL culture as well.
No, I couldn't agree more. I think we'll see a veteran, maybe one or two, after they get Tristan Wirfs deal done, so you can see what they're working with in the cap space come training camp. It wouldn't surprise me if they bring a veteran, either special teamer, receiver, or even that running back. You never know. It never hurts to add another veteran running back in the group. You never know, because Chase Edmonds is injury prone. And back to special teams, I let Buc Ya Heard at the kick return position. I've been hearing a lot of hype behind this guy.
Bucky up the gut. How fun is that? Bucky up the gut.
Hey, Bucky, if you buck, man. I mean, there's so many phrases you could put with that, in my opinion. But I agree with you, though. I think we'll add a veteran or two, where position that's needed, as far as that goes. I just feel that they're focusing on getting Tristan Wirfs deal done. Because I know Jason Lance going on vacation soon, and he'll be pretty much
well-deserved vacation.
Oh, yeah, well-deserved, of course. And I'm thinking they're more focused on getting his deal done so they can see what they can work with when it comes to training camp, to add a couple veteran bodies in there, whether it's from the XFL, UFL.
Well, and if you look at it, not to cut you off, but you still got some veteran receivers out there. You still got, here's a couple of them to name a few. Slants McGee, that would be scary. I'm good on that. But you got Hunter Renfrow, McCole Hardman, Corey Davis, who actually unretired. He retired years ago with the Jets. I don't blame him. If I had the Jets quarterbacks throwing footballs my way too. Hell, we have Julio Jones, not that again. Russell Gage, not that again. Lynn Bowden, Randall Cobb, Sterling Shepard, Richie James, Jakeem Grant, Martavis Bryant, Quintus Cephas. So I could see whether it's, a Hardman or a Corey Davis or a Sterling Shepard, a Randall Cobb type, maybe perhaps someone in that realm of, hey, I just want 1 year left. I want to play for maybe a competing division team. We'll see. But Emily coming at our guy Gene again. She's saying hi to everybody but Gene. Christopher Cole said evening, everyone. Emily said everybody but Gene. Gene, do you have a rebuttal?
No, not right. No, I'll save it for later.
The gloves are still on.
I'm the victim here, so I'm just. But Emily's doing Emily things, so I don't expect any different.
As we are joined live here on the Buccateers and Buc What Ya Heard by the great Dr. Pless from Real Bucs Talk, as he brings his great friendship and knowledge to the show. And plus, since we have you here, and you're the film guy, if you guys don't know yet, which I'm sure everybody watching this pod does, but Real Bucs Talk, incredible job of breaking down not only Bucs film, but NFL draft film and so much more. Plus, I don't know if you've gotten to really watch our guy Tyreek Funderburk all too much yet, whether it's been film or practicing, but we had him and JC Allen on the pod at the same time last week. And Tyreek was a cool cat. He was really fun to chat with. I think Gene could vouch for that. And I like the potential he has. He has a lot, I think 11 interceptions in 50 to 55 career college games, so he can make some plays. He's a speedster, as he was a track and field guy. He's one of those guys who keeps moving up too. He started at Richmond, I believe, and then he went to Appalachian State and played some very good football out there. So he said he had several calls, and he answered Todd Bowles. And after Christian Izzian's success last year, it's hard to blame a guy, as Todd Bowles is very good with defense and UDFA's. Thoughts on Funderburk? Could he make the practice squad? Could he make the 53? And do you see any potential in our guy there?
Yeah, I mean, I think him personally, he's got the size, he's got the athleticism that you look for. At 6 foot, he's about 190. So a lot to like. Personally, I haven't watched much of his film. It's hard to attain Appalachian State film out there, but just reading up on him and what others have said, obviously he's got a good football mind. Seems like he can pick up things pretty quickly. Didn't really play much at Richmond, but then the last 2 years he started to get opportunities and really did well. So yeah, there's an opportunity there to make the roster. It just really depends on who is he going to beat out. Is he going to take one of these veteran spots like a Tavier Thomas or Josh Hayes, I know is a developing corner that they like, and it's really going to come down to special teams and what can he provide there. But as far as practice squad, absolutely, I think they want to keep. They always want to have corners there in your pocket, to have available. Also, the Keenan Isaac guy from last year, they really like his game, so there's a lot of competition there for sure.
Yeah, a lot of competition. Gene, go ahead.
Plus made some really great points. The one thing that stuck out to me in that interview was just how much he's into the books, how much he's wanting to understand the playbook, how much he's leaning on Todd Bowles for information, how much he's leaning on the veterans, how much he's just like a sponge where he's trying to get as much in as he can. And that is exciting for me. He's a guy that he just wants to continue to learn. He's not going to get here and just be like, okay, I'm here, and he's just continuing to get better. I mean, especially, when you check up from the neck up, that's really exciting for me because that's where you see a lot of failures in the NFL where guys come in and think, well, I'm here, and that's it. But it's really great to see him doing that.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's also cool. He's, already hanging with the big cats. Remember last week, he's like, I got to hop off. I got a dinner date with the vets. So that was pretty cool. He's already soaking all that in. And what a room to soak, what a room to get knowledge from as Gene's threatening. Gene has a target out for him, I swear.
Yeah, everybody's out to get me for whatever reason.
Gene, we'll put you in. You could hide out in the Buck Cave over here if you need to.
You know what? I may have to relocate to that place. I'm guessing.
Yeah, but nonetheless, I mean, what a room for Funderburk to learn from. Antoine Winfield, Jamel Dean, Jordan Whitehead, and those types of the veteran D-backs. J-Lo, quick thoughts on Funderburk and plus needing to trim his castaway beard he got going on.
No, he's got a good opportunity, and plus you got to look at the competition he's going up against, head to head when he's on the field. I mean, you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, who are going to push him if he gets the opportunity, or now you got Trey Palmer, who they're trying to build up, and then who I think is going to have a big year with the competition with McMullen. So he's got a great opportunity to make that roster. I watched a little bit of his highlight tape the other day. I finally made time to watch it. He's definitely got some height and definitely got a little bit of speed to go with it. So you never know. I mean, if he can turn Izzy into a starting nickel, this guy could be the next one come up and be a special teamer and then be a starter later on that corner. You never know. But I like where he's at. I think he's going to do great things in the preseason. And it all comes down to who wants him more, like who wants to be on the roster. And he seems like the guy that wants to make a roster and make an impact on this team.
Yeah, OTAs Well, for now, they're kind of on pause here in Tampa, and we've had a week in the past couple of weeks to be kind of going through and getting to look at some UDFAs, some veterans not around, such as Randy Gregory, Tristan Wirfs, and those types. But, not always a shock, especially for a guy like Wirfs who's going under contract negotiations, holding out. Well, he'll be holding in here shortly. But, Dr. Pless, I know you're largely involved with these OTAs. Anything stick out to you, player wise, or just anything natural stick out to you? I know you got your one wide receiver you got your eyes on. Any other low key players that people might not know about that kind of have popped off in this little bit of time outside of Cam Johnson that may have caught in your eyes during the OTA period? I know it's a hard period to grasp completely. You don't get all too much coverage, you don't get all too much details, but if anyone caught your eye or anything stuck out, please feel free to share.
Well, I mean, I haven't been able to be there personally, but just from what I've been hearing, as far as press conferences and stuff like that, little tidbits here and there, I'm really excited about this rookie class. Also, this year's rookie class, but also last year's class that is coming in, and you can kind of see the culture is already there where guys understand what their responsibilities are, understanding how to improve their game, little things here and there, just the leadership from the older guys like Vita Vea, coming in great shape, ready to go, ready to be a dominant player and leader. So I think, and Kalijah Cansey spoke on it, I think it was yesterday or the day before, but just talking about how, being in better shape, understanding, his little tricks and trades of understanding how to beat his guy even better, and just understanding the game at a higher level. I think it's really important. You see that from all the rookies. Zion McCollum was talking about Trey Palmer and how he's utilizing his speed at a better level to create separation for himself, the route running, all those little nuances to the game. So yeah, I mean, that's really what sticks out to me is just guys doing what they're supposed to do. Everyone's holding each other accountable. So, and obviously it can get into like scheme stuff. We talk about Liam Cohen and what he's bringing to this offense. That has me excited. So it just seems like everything is coming together at a faster pace. Guys are ahead of schedule, which you like. So yeah, a lot of positives right now for the Buccaneers. It just seems like everything is flowing in the right direction. And this team is, again, under the radar, which I love. I mean, I think we all love it that no one's talking about this team. They're talking about that team from the dirty South in Atlanta, which I don't get it. I don't get it. Again, I talked on my show, Real Bucs Talk. I talked about how you're changing both sides of the ball. Head coach, offense coordinator, new defense coordinator, scheme change. You don't have the personnel really at defense, especially when you look at the secondary. I know their defense was, pretty good last year, but again, that's last year. You're older up front. You don't really have a pass rusher to name. Secondary didn't really improve it. If in fact, it probably got worse because you don't have anyone on the outside next to Terrell. And everyone's talking about Kirk Cousins. I'm like, he just came off of Achilles. What makes you think he's going to be just as, he's just going to be awesome to start off? Like, it's going to take some time for them to, prepare and get ready for this season, or at least get into a groove.
Yeah, and they have, first round pick. They kind of, maybe not a waste down the road, but for now, if you're a Falcons fan, you probably would have liked a piece of the pie to help you compete this year, especially after spending all that money on Cousins, and you still got Heineke under contract, giving him pretty good backup money as well. Quickly, plus thoughts on Godwin. I think there's 0% chance we trade him mid-season. I just don't think the Bucs are that type, especially with that type of player like Chris Godwin. Sure, they're going to let him test the market after the year. He may or may not be back, but surely we're not going to trade him mid-season, right?
No. Godwin will be here. I mean, unless like the train just falls completely off the tracks and we're like, 0-6 or something like that to start the year. And then, we decide to, be some type of, sellers or what have you. But again, I just don't see that happening. I think this team is too good, too talented. Chris Godwin is going to be prime for a big year this year, playing back in the slot, and just his utilization in this offense is going to be a lot of fun. So you just hope he stays healthy, has a great year, which I think is definitely on the table. And it's not out of the realm that the Buccaneers bring him back. I don't think that can be written off. I know, early in the offseason, a lot of people thought, okay, well, Chris Godwin's probably going to be gone after this year, which still could be the case. But let's see how this plays out. I think he's a very key piece to the Liam Cohen offense and the Buccaneers. And yeah, I think there's a very good opportunity for him, and he knows that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Real quick, was running late. What did I miss? Only a couple technical difficulties and some Deven Thompkins talk. So you're all right, bud. But Gene, take it away, brother. Sorry, I had to get our guy, bud.
No problem. What I was basically going to say is kind of where Plus is as well. I'm thinking the same thing. If you look at the wide receiver room, there is such a steep drop off after Chris Godwin, and I just cannot. I couldn't imagine them getting rid of him right now. And this is a team that's been to the playoffs and they've won a division. Why not keep that going? I don't think there's anything, unlike like Plus said, unless there's just a huge fall off. I just don't see how it all changes.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's like last year. Remember, like, not to be mean to, this isn't a knock on Brady, but all we pretty much did was get younger and get more mobile at quarterback. Again, that last season at Brady, I'm not saying Baker's Brady, so people relax out there, but we all know the Bucs quarterback position needed some mobility. Last year we added that. Last year we got younger, and apparently Cupid cologne is Gene's always wearing that Cupid cologne. So whether we got younger or Gene's dripped in the Cupid cologne, it's all good. Speaking of good, J-Lo, I think Klein makes the roster easily. I think he's a prototypical type of Jason Light, Todd Bowles mold at this point for no lineman. I know I heard J.C. Allen speak on him very highly. I don't think Klein should be all too concerned, but what say you, J-Lo?
Why not start? He could be a starter. I mean, he could be that missing piece at left guard position. I don't think he will, but he could be a guy that come in later on and take over the left guard spot if he fits it well. Klein is another lineman that I like we got in the later rounds. You can never have too many offensive linemen on an offensive line because injuries happen. You never know. Klein, I feel like, will fit great. If you don't start his rookie season, he'll be a starter by next season, second year, guaranteed. Because Breland and Sua Peta, I think they'll probably start off at first. But when it comes to money and cap space, Klein will fit that bill. I think a year under his belt, he'll be ready by next year to be a starter for sure. And as far as Godwin goes, the one thing I want to put out there with Godwin, like I mentioned to Mike last year, he's not a diva. He's not a guy that's going to cry for money, going to hold out, say F you, pay me my money. Like some of the other receivers we're seeing right now, like T. Higgins, not going out to participating because he wants to get paid. I get it. But the thing with Godwin and Evan that they don't get their flowers for is that they are team players. They're players that would want to go out there and ball out and earn their money that they deserve. And I agree with Pless. I feel like he will definitely my bad, sorry Gene, you as well, that he will be back next season. As far as how much money we'll see, but knowing Light and his team, they'll get a deal done. And him playing at the slot, I think, will be his best trait.
And it seems like regardless the free agent, regardless how much we have to spend, Light does an incredible job to get them back. And G Vegas says Hargraves was the only in-season trade Light ever made, but let's not forget he was waived, so it's not like we traded him. It's not like we traded him outright. He was claimed on waivers by the Texans, but we did waive Hargraves, so it's not like we were dangling him out. Nobody would trade too much for him regardless. But remember the thing with Hargraves as well, which would never be a doubt with Chris Godwin, his hustle came into play, and that's why they mainly wanted to move on from Vernon Hargraves. He was giving up on plays, wasn't doing what the coaching staff asked him to, and it ultimately led to him being one of the bigger busts in Tampa's memory under Jason Light. And that's what you get when you draft the Gator of J-Lo's, allegedly. So, we'll blame it on that. I'm kidding, J-Lo.
Hey,
I'm kidding, buddy. I'm kidding. As we got a fun chat tonight. Krillin's really living it up. He's the man.
He is one of the best.
Gene and Emily are going under World War IV, it looks like. We're skipping right over World War III, and we're going right to World War IV. Cap is always increasing, especially with that Netflix money now. Well, the thing is with the cap, if you have a guy like Mike Greenberg on your side, a lady like Jacqueline Davidson, I believe, but regardless, you're going to make a lot of things that really aren't realistic into realums, and that's what the Bucs have been doing the past couple of seasons without killing their future like the Saints did. I mean, you look at the Saints and how they're set up.
They do.
They're in piss poor territories, but that's Saints fans' problems, not ours. Yeah, fuck the Aints. I'm sorry.
And you know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy about that is this is going to continue to happen. Miss Benson, I guess she likes Mickey Loomis, and I just, everything I hear, I mean, his job is secure. So I don't know.
Falco is the best. Yeah, Falco is the man. So we got some great talks going on. Light is definitely Merlin with the cap. Light is a lot of things with the cap, and he has some incredible stories as well, including my favorite was how he was chatting with Wayne Gretzky when he got the call that Mike Evans is going to be a Buck again, and he was kind of just chilling at the bar with the hockey great. So not all too often do you hear that. Bucs thrive on being dissed by the media. We lived on that for decades before Brady got here, and really in 2020, not a lot of people had us making the playoffs, but no one really had us as a Super Bowl cat with Brady at that point. Remember, the narrative was, COVID offseason. Brady's too new there. He wasn't looking that great to end his tenure in New England. We kind of got off to a skittish start. We brought in Antonio Brown. Everyone's like, this guy's going to kill the locker room. Well, that happened eventually. But
a year later,
for that season, he was under parental supervision with Bruce Arians and company, and he held his head on straight, and we won a Super Bowl. So, ever since then, things have been different. But I love that we're back to flying under the media. Saints are close to over 90 million. I think that's like a repeat every year. I think they're pretty much just over like by 100 million damn near every year. Speaking of every year, Gene, we got a bear draft continuing this year for Buc What You Heard and Buccateers. What are we up to? 11 or 12 bears there? And the more the merrier for all those listening. We got a lot of people in here tonight. We almost are up to 100 people watching live right now. So get those bears in, right, Gene?
We got 11. We have 11 beers so far.
Yeah, and more the merrier. So don't be afraid if you're new out there. Put in a beer, even if it's mentioned already. We'll just drink 2 instead of 1 to taste test it. Don't worry. That'll never be a bad thing right there. 007 says, I think our D will be top 10 this year. Plus, what say you to that? Do you think the Bucs D has what it takes, or the coaching staff and D has what it takes to get these fellas to be a top 10 defense?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the defense to see what they can progress from last year. I mentioned earlier just the younger guys taking that next step, whether it be a Kalijah Kancey or a Yaya Diaby, progressing and learning how to be even more consistent than they were last year. You saw the flashes. You saw a lot of times where they would make splash plays. Now it's about, can you harness that and become that very good or maybe even great player. But you mentioned, you talk about them and then you look at the linebacker situation. I think when you look at this defense, I think you got rid of 2 of the biggest weaknesses on the team. And that was Devin White, who is a liability as far as being overall consistent, whether it's just doing your assignment, being in the right spot. And it created holes for the defense to overcome that. A lot of guys had to fill in for what his mistakes were, and it just put the defense out of place too often than not. So you replace him with KJ Britt, who I'm really excited about. I think he has a chance to really become a player for this team. I like his leadership and his accountability. But the biggest addition of this for this defense is the return of Jordan Whitehead. Like, that can't be stated enough how good this guy is going to be next to Antoine Winfield. So you add them, both those guys, to help what your weaknesses were, whether that be Ryan Neal or KJ Britt. And now you have guys like Zion McCollum, looking to take that next step, which I think he will. Jamel Dean, hopefully we can see a more consistent player for him, and he can take that step as far as catching the football. I think that's really the goal for the secondary as a whole. Like, they got to catch the ball. And then also another very underrated signing is Bryce Hall from the Jets. Bringing him in, I think I made the statement earlier this offseason to my co-host Mark on Real Bucs Talk. I think he's an upgrade. He's better than Sean Murphy was here when Sean Murphy Bunting was here. And I think now you have that dynamic where you have flexibility at all three corners, whether that's Dean, McCollum, and Bryce Hall, because now you have the opportunity. Let's say you want to put McCollum in at safety or nickel to really match up better against the opposing offense. You can do that. You can bring in Bryce Hall to play outside corner and not miss a beat. So I'm really excited about what these guys offer. And then you add in a Tyke Smith, no disrespect to Christian Izzian, who I think could still grow and show some things. And maybe, he becomes a player for this defense that can, still be involved. So I'm really excited about that. And then just the overall additions of what they made to the pass rush. Bringing in Randy Gregory, I think, is a great move. Good veteran. You still brought in Braswell, the rookie. So I think as a whole pass rush, you're looking for guys to really, attack the quarterback as a unit. It's going to be a collective effort. We're not going to count on one guy to do everything, but you have guys that have the ability to get things done. So yeah, I think the defense, I know this is a long answer, but the defense really has a great opportunity to be top 10 or better.
Yeah, Bryce Hall, not to be mistaken with Brees Hall, right? No, I'm kidding. But I love our defensive backs now. I love our secondary, and kind of hard to believe that Ryan Neal and Devin White were on this team. And these are no knocks on them. Once again, you're in the NFL, you're a professional, you're a top 1%er at what you do in the world.
Yeah.
But kind of hard to believe the Bucs got as far as they did last year with guys like Devin White and Ryan Neal playing as prominent roles as they did on that defense. The one game I give Ryan Neal kudos for is when he had to play middle linebacker, stepping up on short notice. We lost everybody and their friend that day. I'm pretty sure him and J.J. Russell ended up leading the way there. But now I really like how this defense is shaped. And you mentioned Christian Izzian. I'm going to even mention a UDFA we had last year that hasn't been talked about yet, Kayvon Merriweather. I like him as a depth piece as well. And Josh Hayes, not that it matters in all that much, but he did get a special teams all-pro vote last year as a rookie as well. So, you do have signs back there, even from the lesser name cats, even from the younger guys. Like you mentioned earlier, they're huge fans of Keenan Isaac. And, he's been around since last year. They also signed the kid from Houston as well. So they have a lot of good options back there. I like how we sprinkled in a couple veterans to go along with who we already had back there. And, now between Tavir Thomas, Bryce Hall, Jamel Dean, Zion McCollum, then the young guns, I think we're living life pretty damn good back there. We need a Bucs fan to be next Edmonton Oilers fan who has taken over the social media world. Well, we do have Big J, who's always getting on the Jumbotron. Jay's always out there with his stomach. So, I know the Oilers lady, very nice looking gal, but we have our own, and that's Big J. So we'll go to battle with Jay any day of the week for that stuff. Which players from our Super Bowl year and current team will make the Ring of Honor? Gene, why don't we start with you? Hall of Fame, or just try and piece what you can.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, I think you could say that for both of those first two questions. Ring of Honor, Hall of Fame. Will Brady be on the ring? I absolutely think so. I think Tom Brady will be in the ring.
A lot of people say no, but I think he will. I wanted to kind of comment on what Plus was talking about with Devin White. And Devin White wasn't doing his job. And I know if you guys watch Real Bucs Talk, they talk about that all the time. Do your job. And he was so inconsistent after the Super Bowl. I can't even begin to tell you how many gripes I've had about that. But what I saw last year when he was benched were guys that were coming in and they were hungry, they wanted to play, and they weren't making mistakes. They were, playing with their brain. And, some players like KJ Britt isn't as fast as Devin White, but he sees stuff. He's able to process it, and he's able to make plays. And that overcomes a lot of the stuff that, Devin White was doing. I would rather have a guy out there consistently making plays rather than being a liability, half the game pretty much.
Yeah, I agree with you completely there, Gene. And Bat W, thanks for joining, says they were both bench sitters by the end of the season. Actually, Devin White played a pretty good snap count down the stretch because KJ Britt was in and out with injury. And then remember, there was always that, feeling to get Devin White in the game. So he did play a little bit down the stretch right there as well. So nearing the top of the hour, but we're going strong. Gene will be right back, he said, here on the Buccateers. It's J-Lo, myself, and Dr. Plus from Real Bucs Talk, getting you guys caught up on everything around the horn here, Bucs Talk. We've talked a little Devin Thompkins. We've had some OTA chatter, and we do have a Facebook crowd tonight. Elmo Nito's in the house. WQEE, the radio station in the Atlanta, Georgia area, is in the house as well. Plus, do you think KJ will win the starting linebacker? Is it a lock, or does number 8 have a chance? He's meaning Servace Dennis. And I'll even throw in JJ Russell's name just for fun, because he's been around a little bit too. Plus,
I think it's going to be a competition for sure. KJ, his thing is, will he be able to play third down? That's what he has to work on. And coach talked about that with him, using his eyes better, understanding where his, drops are and getting to your spots and, not giving away where you're heading before the play actually happens. So that will remain to be seen. But just based on what I've heard from KJ, I think he's going to get it. I like his game. I like how he talks about understanding what you're seeing out there as the most important thing. And he studied, good linebackers over the history of this game, and he's learning from the best, obviously, with Levante. But Servace obviously has a lot of potential, and JJ Russell as well. So I think that's going to be a good competition to look for and see how that plays out. You could see where all those guys play at some point. But I'm confident in KJ to get that job, at least from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, and to not to bash Ryan Neal too much, but last year, whenever you could point at more than half the bad plays and kind of centralize it around one specific person, it's never a great thing. And I do think the great Gene from Buc What Ya Heard is logging off for the night. So we do thank Gene for hopping on and joining us here on the program. Gene was great tonight, per usual. Always fun with the great Gene, but it's still plus J-Lo and myself here for a little past the time. Oh, we're already at the top of the hour. Frick it, we're going overtime tonight. I'll put you guys on the payroll. Don't worry about it. But a lot of fun stuff so far. The chat is blowing up. Tom is definitely going to be in. Come on, man. Yeah. I think so, and a couple of reasons there. A, Bruce Arians is in, and I love Bruce, and he's actually getting inducted into the Tampa Hall of Fame tonight as well, so kudos to him. I think he's one of the GOATs there, but, if Arians is in, to me, Brady's easily in as well, and I know Arians they spent the same amount of time here because Bruce retired, quote-unquote, and was in the front office, so, to me, it's kind of a package deal. You put one in, you put the other in, so they put Bruce in, they're going to put Brady in. 2, right, wrong, or indifferent, we're always going to have an open spot now that Gruden was ousted. So we're always going to be playing catch-up ball here unless we put 2 in one season. To me, we're always going to be behind the 8 ball. And I get it. What Gruden said was heinous. What he said was terrible. But I still would have kept him in the Ring of Honor, being our first guy, head coach to ever win the Super Bowl. Maybe not invite him back anymore. Maybe not bring him around anymore. But damn it, he did a lot for this franchise, right, wrong, or indifferent. So this season, I'm interested to see if we put anyone in, and if so, who it will be. You seen the Indianapolis Colts announce Dallas Clark, former Buccaneer, is going into their Ring of Honor this season. So, you know, you hear something like that, and you surely think a couple of these guys deserve to be in the Bucs Ring of Honor who aren't yet. You got Hardy Nickerson, you got James Wilder. You can already throw Tom Brady's name up there. Hell, this might be a little. Yeah, Simeon Rice, great one. And I know I might be a little far-fetched here. Not a lot of people might not agree with me, but I would love to see Vincent Jackson go into the Bucs Ring of Honor for what he did on and off the field for this franchise. Passed away way too young, left us too early. But man, if anybody knew Vincent Jackson on and off the field, he was a hero and he was a warrior and he was a gridiron cat. I can't even keep up with all the comments tonight. There's so much going. The only person who pissed me off more than Carlton was Devin White. I didn't a lot, and plus you could back me up here or go against or rebuttal here, but I thought Carlton ended the year really well last year, actually. I thought he played the last 6 or 7 games of pretty good football. To begin the year, yes, I think he got beat a pretty good amount. I know his availability was sketchy, to say the least, to begin the season last year. And I mean, what the hell, between Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, and Sean Murphy-Bunting, love all those guys as humans, but it's like musical chairs back there of who is going to be healthy, who's not going to be healthy. So at the very least this year, we should have a little bit more stability in the health department. And secondly, Carlton Davis, yes, I think he started the year rough last year, but I do think we'll miss him in terms of you could pretty much trust him, not all the way covering a number one, but you felt really good about him on a number one. Plus, I'm not sure. I think we have really good depth back there, but I don't know if we have that guy. I like Jamel Dean a lot, but after that San Fran game last year, I'm not, love the guy, like him a lot. I think he's a great number 2, low-end number 1, high-end number 2. But Carlton had that factor to him, in my opinion, at least. What say you on Carlton Davis and how this defense will miss him, if we'll miss him at all?
Yeah, it was a lot of hit or miss with Carlton, unfortunately. The consistency level, being available to play, that hurts you when it comes to decisions as far as your future for this team. And I think Jason Light looked at that. They saw an opportunity to get a draft pick and a 3rd rounder. And that ends up being Jalen McMillan that they pick up. So, when you look at it and you also look at the fact that Zion McCollum was really coming into his own, they were really excited about him.
That's a very good point.
He played very well down the stretch. I know, early in the offseason, it was funny on my channel, a lot of people were like, what are we doing at corner? We have to take a corner in the 1st round. We got to do this. Why are we going with Zion McCollum? And I'm like, well, you gotta look at the tape and see what they're asking him to do. And obviously they feel very confident in his abilities. I think Zion, with his ability to play zone, and that was the big thing. Carlton was mainly a man-to-man corner. He was really good when he was able to get physical, get your hands on the receiver. And, the Buccaneers for the last several years have gone a little bit away from that man coverage. They're looking for more zone opportunities where they can mix and match and try to create confusion for the offense and create turnovers. And that was another thing. Like, Carlton couldn't catch the ball,
Yeah.
And Jamel Dean as well. And that's been the big talking point this offseason. Guys are really focused in on catching the football. So yeah, I mean, Carlton, I think he was really good. I mean, when he was at his best, he was one that you wanted on your team for sure. Has a lot of ability, but I think they were just looking at it from a future perspective. Zion, they had to get him on the field one way or the other. And again, I bring up Bryce Hall. I think that's a great signing. Bringing him in, I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch him play as well.
Yeah, and I agree. Bryce Hall, coming from that Jets team, and that camaraderie with Jordan Whitehead back there, I think that's underrated too. You get 2 Jets D-backs as Olivia's joining. Hi, welcome to the Queen Olive. Krillin, Neil was so bad. Oh my gosh, you guys make me laugh. I love that. Neil just sucked, and he sucked bad. Double O asked a good question. We're gonna get back to it here in a minute, but J-Lo, before we ask you the question on Deven Culp, J-Lo, because you'll get that one. Plus, I kind of want to follow up your point, and I thought this was interesting. A couple of years back, the Buccaneers do this thing on Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on when the game is. If it's Sunday, they'll do it Monday. If it's Monday, they'll do it Tuesday on WDAE, Tampa's flagship radio sports station. As you're welcome, Mad D. He says, thank you all for making your time and making these. You're very much so welcome. I love doing this. But Sean Murphy Bunting was sitting down with Casey Phillips and Ali Marpet on Buccaneers Total Access a couple seasons ago when he was still a Buck. And they pretty much asked him about that. They said, hey, nothing against Carlton and Jamel Dean, but it seems like you and Antoine Winfield Jr. have a little bit better knack for the football in terms of, hunting down the ball and catching the ball, making a play on the ball, not necessarily past deflections. And Sean Murphy Bunting attributed that success to playing baseball growing up. He said guys like him and Mike Edwards and Winfield, I know him and Mike Edwards at least, maybe Winfield as well, but he said a lot of them played baseball growing up. So they actually, track down fly balls and catching the baseball kind of help their instincts on going to get the ball. Plus, do you buy that? Kind of an interesting answer from SMB, but hey, maybe it makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it definitely helps as far as playing a factor for sure. The more sports you do, just having that muscle memory, having soft hands, I think is important. Being able to catch the ball, whether that's baseball, whether it's basketball, whatever sport it is. That definitely has a factor, but it also just goes to like how you're playing the game. What are you being asked to do? Are you putting in the right situations as well? And then taking advantage of those opportunities. And Carlton and Jamel have had many opportunities, as we've seen over the years, to make plays and finish, right. And that just hasn't come to play yet. And hopefully we see that this season. And Zion McCollum, same thing. Like, he's had opportunities to make picks or make catches and hasn't been able to close the door. So hopefully that takes the step that we need to see this year. And we see more turnovers come to fruition.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we are with the great Dr. Plus. If you guys are watching on whoever's channel, whatever the hell network, make sure you throw it a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you repost it or turn that notification bell on. I think we're on everything under the sun right now. I think we're even doing a live TikTok stream, a live LinkedIn stream, a live, no, I'm kidding, but that would be impressive. LinkedIn. I think you could connect LinkedIn to this thing, but that would be, that'd be interesting to say the least. J-Lo, we'll start off with you here as our guy 007 Ness tonight, who's very active. We appreciate that greatly. He wants to know if Deven Culp will make the team. The rookie tight end out of Washington, the round 7 pick. Jason Light loves him some Huskies. Will Culp make the team? And if he does, will he be effective, J-Lo? I think we drafted him for a reason. Whether it's Keefe's spelling the end of, or what, I think we drafted Deven Culp for a reason.
You can never draft enough Huskies when it comes to Jason Light. I'll love me some Washington Husky players on this Buc roster. But Deven Culp, I think he will make the roster. I think he'll be tight end 3. No disrespect to Keefe. I'm not saying he's out of here. But to me, you got an athletic tight end who ran, I believe, a 4.4 or 4.5 in the 40s. So he's got some speed with that tight end position. Blocking wise, I'm not too sure. I'm still looking into it. I think he's a good blocking tight end, but I don't know how great he is. But you can never have enough players in the tight end room. To me, I think we'll keep all 4 tight ends. Exiko keeping that blocking tight end. I think he's the better blocker out of the 3, in my opinion. But on Deven Culp, I feel like he'll make the roster. He may take a little time to see the field because he's the rookie. It'll take time. I really like, honestly, K. Dodden and Payne Durham, the 2 tight end set.
I think our tight end room has a lot of potential, J-Lo. And J-Lo, doesn't this remind you of our friends at the Command This podcast when they were talking about how they had, they had a locker room full of, I forget what car they called it, but they wanted some Ferraris. Now we got Krillin saying the Bucs need some Ferraris in their cornerback room. Winfield was a Ferrari, though, for real, for real. A lot of great chats in tonight, and I think Zion McCollum is getting highlighted here a lot. As Plus did a great job mentioning our faith in him. Oh boy, Krillin trying to get in Casey Phillips there. Well, yeah, she's off the market circa a couple of years back. So good luck with that. I'll help you out. Not going to do much, but I could help you out. J-Lo, you got words of wisdom here for our guy? Yeah, shoot your shot, right?
Well,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I mean, the old saying, because it's a goal, go for the shot, but we're not gonna get into that.
Hey, Krillin's just admiring Casey, and she is great. Her and Scott Smith do incredible work for the Bucs, both of them. And if you're in Ray J in attendance, you'll notice her pregame shows on the pirate ship, or if you're just watching Buccaneer content on YouTube, you'll be noticing them as well. Speaking of YouTube content, we have Dr. Plus, Michael Plus here from Real Bucs Talk, and someone saying he ain't a real doctor. Those degrees on the wall are fake. Did you want to know what I learned in Mexico? It costs more to be a culinary chef than it does to be a doctor for schooling purposes in Mexico, because there's a bigger need for chefs out there. I'm like, damn it. If I knew how to cook, that would, I could go out there and make a lot of money. But no, I'm just kidding. He is Dr. Plus, all right? And our guy Neil says, what it do? Neil's always a great one. So awesome stuff there. Mr. Plus, I know we're already at the hour mark, so we don't have too much time left here. But before we get to a couple of other things and whatnot, what's going on with Real Bucs Talk? Any Real Bucs Talk? Man, I sounded like a New Yorker there. Real Bucs Talk. What's going on?
New Yorker.
But what's going on with you guys? Any new shows upcoming, or anything previously recently listed on your end?
Yeah, I mean, we just came out with a video today just talking about, the scheme and how, the players, especially Chris Godwin, very excited on how they're going to be utilized. So I went in depth on that and, talked about how, Cooper Kupp, I even put an example in there, how they utilize him for the Rams, get him open on one-on-one matchups, using bunch formations being a big part of that, motions and shifts. Talked about a little bit on the running game on how they're going to use, guys to move and create those, alleyways for your running back, make it easier, more efficiency, I think is the big word that we're all looking for when this offense gets going. But yeah, so I had a video today on that. So be sure to check that out. As far as like upcoming stuff, we're going to have some more film coming soon. We're trying to get, a lot of film on, Jordan Whitehead. We're going to talk about Sua Opea, Ben Bredesen as well. So just some of the free agents, Bryce Hall, another one, really do some reviews on them and what they're going to be adding to this team. So I think for tomorrow, probably have a video out on Cameron Johnson. I'm really excited about what he can do. He's again a smaller dude at 5'9", pretty much, but he's built well, 185. And just has that ability to make people miss. Good route runner, can catch the football, has a good catch radius. And I think that's another point, just to talk quickly on the receivers that they're looking at have all things in common. And that is being able to separate, be able to catch the football in any type of way, and really make plays with the ball after they get it. So I think that is something to focus in on here, especially during the training camp. And last point I'll make on defense, if Logan Hall does, anything on this year, this defense is going to be really good moving forward, because he's the X factor, in my opinion. He's another weakness in the starting lineup that if he improves to where he can be a decent starter, sky's the limit for where they can go.
I couldn't agree more. If we could get anything out of our couple of last, high-end pick defenders between JTS, between your guys' friend Logan Hall and the likes. One thing I noticed, I think Zion McCollum would be a harder spelling bee name for Bucs fans than I thought, because I'd seen Zion spelled. Hey, I'm still unsure myself, but I've seen it spelt about 4 or 5 different ways in our chat here tonight. So next Buccateers episode, next Buc What You Heard episode we're going to have a Buccaneers players spelling bee, and the winner is going to win a package. How about that? So
there we go. Let's make it happen.
There may or may not be Zion McCollum. And Gene's back, Emily, so you didn't scare him off. You just had to, he's like Tom Brady. He went away for a couple months, and, he's back. So.
Yeah, I wanted to tell everybody thank you for coming on. This has just been a fun show. I love the chat, man. The chat is just on fire. I love it.
It's literally on fire. I think if I tried to touch the chat right now, I'd probably get 3rd-degree burns. So I'm going to keep my hands where I can see him. Don't worry, people. My hands are in plain sight. Krillin says easy. Well, Krillin, now I'm getting all confused out here. Speaking of confused, we did get some new logos, and starting next week and along the course of the off season, you guys will be seeing an introduction change. Our logos kind of be switching over. So we're doing a lot of work here in the background on Buccateers and Buc What You Heard. We're going to be collabing pretty much throughout the 2024 season, and we got a lot of fun stuff heading your guys' way, including a fun show tomorrow, right, Gene? Are we still on with
we're still on for tomorrow.
The lovely Lady Dolphin 72, I believe, right?
Yep, that is correct.
She was awesome. She was on a show of ours about a month or so ago, and she knows her stuff, and she's a vibrant young lady, and she brings a lot of good football talk to the game, and that's all that matters there. And see, real Bucs talk already correcting Krillin. And I don't want this to end like the Christmas Story where we're putting soap in people's mouths. So, thank you, Krillin, for saying feck instead of fuck. Always a good thing there. Part of my French to those underagers in the building. But, Gene, did you want to save the hot seat challenge? And I know it was kind of a wonky episode with me being a little delayed in the beginning.
Then I had, we can do it on the next show, on the next Buccateers show. I'll just save it. It's going to be good. It's going to be actually pretty good.
Plus, did you want me to add this to the screen?
If you can, just so everyone gets it official. There it is.
So. Hey, that is pretty cool. Here, hold on. I spelt it wrong 3 times. All right, let me write it down. There. Zion McCollum, Krillin, 007S, El Bundy, and anyone else. That's how you do it. I couldn't do it either, so I'm not blaming y'all. Don't get it wrong. But thank you to Dr. Plus for that. That's an incredible ad right there, and I really got to take more advantage of that feature. For as much as I pay for this functioning, you don't take advantage as much as I should. I feel like so. Plus, that's not cheating, Krillin. It's called technology. Some call it cheating. Houston Astros call it technology, so we'll go with the latter there. Speaking of the latter, fellas, it's been over an hour and 9 minutes now in the Buccateers. We've had an incredible guest of Real Bucs Talk, the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Dr. Plus. I hope to get him back on plenty more here in 2024. But before we do bounce off and log out, we always do our final words. J-Lo, thanks for coming back, brother. It's been a while, and just good to chat with you again, my man. Any final words for the program here before I got to put you on overtime? I don't really want to do that. That's time and a half, which is costly for me. So, J-Lo, any last words here?
First of all, Dr. Plus, thank you for being on. Big fan of Bucs Talk. I try to catch y'all every single time you guys are on. You and Mark kill it every time. I learned a lot from y'all too. Like I said, you guys are amazing what you do. And for the fans watching the show, if you're not watching Real Bucs Talk, you're missing out. These guys know their stuff. They put everything together. Like I said, you got to give them their flowers. Like I said, they know their stuff. And Real Bucs Talk is the real deal. And all I can really say is, we're getting close to the season. The season's coming. It's getting closer and closer. The OTAs, we're going to have mandatory minicamp, which Tristan Wirfs will be in attendance, just for fans to know, because they're all freaking out saying, oh, Tristan, oh. No, listen, in light we trust, Tristan will get his extension. It's going to happen. He's not going anywhere. And like I said, you got to have faith, man. I got a feeling we're going to surprise a lot of fans in this league on how far we can really go with this roster. The schedule's tough, but continuity, people. Continuity is key to me. I feel when you put the continuity into this roster of players that have played together last year, they're going to build something special. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, Gene, what say you?
Stability, man. Just the fact that we finally have a organization that has put together a team that has been consistently together, playing together, coaches, special teams, players, just staff in general, is something that I never thought I would see. Looking back to 2014, 2015, you never thought you would see this. But here we are, and you've got the ability to plug and play players where you have your foundation is here, and you can just put players in wherever you need to, like your Kalijah Cansey coming in next to Avita Vea, like Yaya Diaby coming in. You know, you have that foundation there with Levante David and some of your other regulars, and it's just nice to see that. And I think, you know, fans really need to appreciate this time, just considering where the Bucs were at one time.
Your audio went out again.
Yeah. I'm having well, never mind, not behind the scenes stuff here, but we'll get into that later. But Cobra Kai getting thrown around, the great Owen Harn from the Tampa area in the Cobra Kai television series. So Krillin's a big fan of that. Jonas Steckler, just a lot of smoke being put out there by the media just for clicks. You know, the media, I mean, you can't blame him. Their job is to get clicks and to drive things up and to get interest and to generate that type of stuff. So, you know, a lot of them are viewed as a-holes or so forth, and some of them deserve the title, but a lot of them don't. And, you know, they need to make money. And how do you make money? Clicks. Right. Man, that's a bad cough over there, Gene.
Sorry.
Payaso, clown.
Hey, one way or another, we'll just say, I remember the COVID year. That guy was on a mission. He had a hit list out. I swear, man, he was writing guys.
But that's all in the past now.
Yeah, it's all in the past until the bird flu revives in 2025, and
something.
We got to ziplock our football chairs again. And Ray J is, before we get to plus, I'll kind of give my last word again. Catch us tomorrow. What will that be, Gene? 7 Eastern, I believe. Tomorrow?
Yeah, 7 Eastern.
7 Eastern on Buc What Ya Heard, led by Buc What Ya Heard, from the Buccateers podcast as well. It will be airing on both, but Gene will be leading the way. I'll be co-captain, and we'll have the great Dolphin 72 back on. She's really great. She has a great football mind, a lot of Dolphins knowledge as well. So we'll be talking about that. And good team to talk with this offseason, as we have a lot of practices with them in August, and come that time, we have preseason games with them as well. So a lot of good stuff there in terms of getting Dolphin on and picking her brain on the Dolphins. So be on the lookout for that. And then, kind of like I said, new logo. If you follow us on Twitter or Twitter X, we call it Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. You're going to see some new logos floating around. We didn't get hacked by Russia. We didn't get sold out. You know, we're still the same old people, just new logos. And shout out to JCL and from Sports Illustrated for helping to come up with our skull design as well. We came up with the flag. He helped us with the skull design. So even in spirit, JC Allen is here making moves. I think he's live with Trey Palmer right now, actually. So
I think we should all jump over.
Stay here until we're done. But once we're done, go check out JC Allen and Trey Palmer. But Dr. Plus, incredible as always, my friend. Awesome. We got to have you on more often throughout the season. I'm kind of never people listening as well. I know Zach Johnson, friend of the show's great memorabilia collector. He's always asking to come on. Never hesitate to come on. Sometimes I get caught up and I don't extend invites like I should and whatnot, but never reach out to come on. Plus, you're one of those guys as well. Never be a stranger. Don't be hesitant. Half the time JC comes on, he'll just hit me up, link. He won't even say anything. He'll just be like, link, and demand the damn thing. So Plus, great having you here now, and hopefully in the future we could have you back again, brother, as you're a great friend of the shows and great content with Real Bucs Talk. We appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for having me on. Definitely, I'll definitely be back for sure, this was a great time talking Buccaneers football. Yeah, I mean, this offseason, I think as a Bucs fan, you have to be really excited about the steps that they're taking to build that consistent winner that we're looking for. You look at last year and how this team progressed and took that step forward, winning a playoff game, getting that experience. And now this offseason, I think they've made all the necessary moves to really put themselves in a great position to not only repeat as division champions, but take that step in the playoffs and hopefully make a nice run and be right there with the top teams in the NFC and maybe the NFL as well. So yeah, I'm just very excited. What I've seen so far, very excited for Buccaneers fans. I think there's a lot of good things coming, and just the culture and the, like Gene talked about, the stability that's in place, I think is very important. So yeah, just can't wait. A lot of good things coming this season. A lot of great things at Real Bucs Talk, also here at Buccateers. So be sure to hit that like button. If you're watching right now, just take a moment, hit the like button. Doesn't take any time or effort. Just hit that like button, and we will very be appreciative of that. And also everyone in the chat, thank you. I see a lot of familiar faces in here, so I know most of you guys. So really can't say enough about, just being here and showing support. It means a lot to us as Bucs content creators. So it's really fun. And this has been awesome. So I hope to do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, except for you, Emily. But go ahead.
Emily, I think she went to run and hide. When Gene returned, I think Emily darted. I think she's like, oh boy, I was talking too much smack.
Exactly.
And then the great Gene came back and was like, hey, she's out of here. She dropped the gloves. But plus, you brought up some great points in terms of Bucs content, and I just want to say it's great having guys like Pless, JC Allen, Gene as well. We're realists, and we like to hop on other pods and shows as well, and I think it really helps the community grow when people are willing to help each other grow as well. So, I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think the Bucs do a better job of that than, not to knock other fan bases and teams out there, but I live here in Chicago, and it's like, unless you're like the top radio, we have 2 radio stations out here and like 1 or 2 top podcasts. If you're not one of those, company Chicago doesn't even give you the time of day. That's what I love about the Tampa market. Everything is all good. Everything's ho-hum. And we march on together as a band of brothers and sisters, giving you guys the best coverage we can, the best content. Oh boy. Oh geez. We got, oh boy, before we get canceled here, might have to, no cancellations going on here. Gene's happy. I think that's the happiest I've ever seen Gene on the Buccateers. And Gene, we did get a new beer, PBR. Somebody recommended.
Pabst Blue Ribbon, yeah.
So Danny Brown would be a big fan of that recommendation right there. He's a big PBR guy, and we're up to 12 beers, I believe. Remember, guys, the Hall of Fame game, I believe that's Texans Bears, first preseason game of the year. We'll be coming to you live, and we're going to be doing the official beer draft.
Who dropped that beer on there?
I think Bud Cannibalist did. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. If I'm mistaken, punish me. All right. Do something along those lines. But fellas, any last words here before we bounce out? Plus, J-Lo, Gene, anyone got anything to say?
Life is good, man.
Yeah, watch Cobra Kai. It's coming out next month. Be sure to check that out. A lot of good stuff going on. So it's just a fun time right now.
Really
Cobra
fun
Kai
time.
never die.
J-Lo, you a Cobra Kai guy?
Oh hell yeah, no. Fuck that Miyagi-Do shit. It's all about Cobra Kai, baby.
Oh, you weren't. Well, Bud, you were. See, once you submit a beer, you're serious. It's
Yeah, your name is tied. Your name is tied to that beer, buddy.
Yeah. Hey man, that ain't one I want to be tied to. But hey, you never know. Maybe it'll come out on top. Maybe that'll be like the last beer we taste, and we have such a corrupted palate on the tongue at that point that we are believed to be PBR as the beer. What can you do? But whether it's Kalijah Cansey, Vita Vea getting in shape, the Deven Thompkins and his wife, soon to be ex-wife, rumors floating around, OTA talk, new logos, Tristan Wirfs contract, Tyreek Thunderberg, plus his favorite UDFAs, and so much more. We had an incredible time here on the Buccateers, Buc What Ya Heard, and Real Bucs Talk cross-platform this evening. We loved it all. Great guest tonight. I mean, the chat was nonstop, hitting home run after home run. We appreciate the noise the chat brought, and everybody as well brought some great knowledge to the table on this end of the spectrum. So on behalf of everybody here, guys, I hope everybody has a great hump day. Take it easy. Tone Steckeroff says fire the damn cannons. Everybody, plus Gene, J-Lo, hope you guys all have a great night, fellas. Everybody watching, have a great time. And for the Buccateers that couldn't make it tonight, you're fired. No, I'm kidding. We look forward to having you guys back in the near future. Tampa Tones, the great Dr. Plus, the great Gene from Buc What Ya Heard, and the great J-Lo. We're out of the building. Until next time, thank you guys so much. It's been an honor, true honor. 3, 2, 1, touchdown, Tampa Bay. Let's go. Woo! Fired up Ric Flair style. Before I have a heart attack, we're off. Adios. Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, electricity, that place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buc fans were there too. East Buc.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by Lead Goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little.
No, my camera's